Hey guys, I wanted to do a quick disclaimer video before episode 20 and actually episode 21. We did these on site at GPX WRAPSCON, so the audio and the video are a little different, maybe not quite as high quality as we normally have here, but hopefully the content is still good and I hope you guys still enjoy the episode, but I wanted to warn you before you got into it, so hope you guys enjoy.
Just don't screw it up. Let's not do the whole thing and have it not recorded.
It says it's recording.
So this is how this normally goes, right?
Sometimes it's worse than this. Sometimes it's like, that's why we always play the outtakes right before, because this is how it goes. Every time.
You'd think you'd learn.
You would think. I think I have a team on it too, and every time we're like, move this, move that.
There's like a guy
sit
that
over here,
carries a
sit over there.
case to shows that's in charge of it.
We have the plug come unplugged. We've had someone dump water on the floor during it. Like, you name it, it's happened. You think we're ready?
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 20 of the Slightly Serious Sign podcast. This one's been voted number one by
Nick
from Montroy.
I already voted number one.
You already voted number once before?
We'll pick
it was like episode 4.
WRAPSCON then as the one who voted number one, because if you haven't noticed, we're in a different area. We're literally all standing behind these mics. We're actually at GPX WRAPSCON here in Long Beach, so I figured that's a good way because Nick doesn't like to make it more than 20 miles from his house, so he figured this was the best place to do it.
This is like 22, I think.
So it's up right on the line.
Yeah,
you're a little bit outside your comfort zone.
It's uncomfortable, yeah.
So to make this better of us being out of our comfort zones, I didn't write down a single question before we started this, so.
Well, this is pretty simple. I mean, Nick's going to take the show over here in a minute, but
yeah, we're just going to leave.
Let's clear something up first.
Nick's going to switch mics and just.
We've talked a lot about this little drill. If you're not watching on YouTube, go to YouTube. This is Nick's 4-volt Mr. Reliable drill.
All reliable.
All reliable.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it could never hurt anything.
You should put that up next to the microphone because they can't hear.
Listen. That's all the power that thing's got.
You also
That's
didn't.
As loud as it gets.
You didn't show.
Show it.
The quick change feature.
Oh yeah, see this thing's incredible.
It's really a nice piece of equipment.
This is a great on audio.
I think.
So listen.
I think Ryobi should have sponsored this episode.
If your say 3 or 4-year-old daughter is looking for like a drill, right here, Nick's got the all reliable 4.
Nah, my daughter's drill's better than that.
Probably. Okay, Nick.
Okay, let's clear it up real.
First of all, can you stand closer to the mic so that
come on.
Just pull it as close as you can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
I mean, it'll go too loud there.
Who used this before me?
It's all clean.
Don Long.
That one's new.
Perfect.
Sanitized.
Perfect.
TSA.
The reason for this drill, it's a very specific reason. We have the hood stand in the booth, and if you over torque those bolts, you can't get them apart. So when we go to collapse that at the end of the show, it has to be like basically barely threaded in there. So I used an impact driver to put it together, and I had to cut bolts off. So that's why.
How did you come about? Did you walk into like Ryobi's Home Depot, right?
Yeah.
Did you walk into Home Depot and say, hey, do you got the weakest drill I can possibly get? They're like, yep, this one right here.
This is it. Yeah.
No, he went. Do you guys still have Toys R Us here? Because I feel like that's where you actually got it from.
You know what? That might be from Toys R Us. Target.
Yeah. Kids section.
So, yeah. Well, let's get started. Let's talk about.
Let's not talk about this anymore.
Let's not talk about that drill anymore. That's done, cleared up. We're not going to bring it up again.
I'm sure I'll never get a question about it again.
No. Let's talk about the history of Montroy. If you give us the rundown of how Montroy started, where you're at now, what your role is, and how you've evolved, I guess.
Okay. First thing, I have to take a note from Don Long here and say that the opinions expressed in this episode are that of mine and not of Montroy's, and I think we actually have to do the antitrust deal that we're not allowed to talk. We're in the same space. This happens at NASSD whenever we get together. It's really anytime we get together, there's a conversation that.
Yeah, there's certain things we can't talk about because we're competitors, basically.
Yeah, exactly. We are legally not allowed to, and we stand by that. We're reminded of it constantly, and we don't. Pricing and there's all sorts of things that we're not allowed to talk about. So, got that out of the way.
Yep.
Legal obligations.
Yes. We don't want to get in trouble. I don't mind getting in trouble, but I don't want you guys in trouble.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Being here next to you is iffy for me, as it is.
This is probably one of your life goals, is it not?
Really,
to be on this
yeah.
podcast.
Be on this
Yeah, to be
podcast
on this
with
podcast.
me.
That's a lot of people's
Yeah.
life goals.
Yeah.
Don Long's, he said that he's never planned on retiring until he got on the podcast.
Yeah.
And he said he just thought about it for a second after. I mean, what do you do after you've hit your life goals? You know,
It's
True.
That's
Yeah,
how
you've
it gets.
peaked. Yeah, really, you've met your idols. You know, they say never meet your idols.
I don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, no, that's my life now. I'm done. I'm happy. So Montroy, history of Montroy. We've been in business. This is kind of the gray area because we don't know how old the actual company is. The Montroy name came about in 1932. So that's when we became Montroy Supply. Before that, it was a company called More Electric. My great-grandfather was given that company during the Great Depression. He worked for More Electric. They said, the owner said, Frank, I can't pay you. You can have the company. I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm sorry. And so Frank Montroy turned that around in 1932 was when Montroy Supply Company was created. So that's kind of our start, which I think will upset you, Tyler. You're not as old as us, so now you're number 3 for age. But also interesting that you said, like, it's all of us have started really similar timing. It is very interesting. So, like I said, it's my great grandfather, so I'm 4th generation. And yeah, it's been in the family since then. My dad acquired it in the late 80s. And it started out with, like I said, Frank. Actually, the interesting part of it was Frank used to take bad transformers. He'd burn off the tar, he'd rewrap the cores, and then put them back together, and he'd resell those. That's kind of how he got started in the sign side of things. And so he worked with France on the transformer, and kind of the modern day transformer he helped design. His were more reliable than what France was selling.
We were just at France.
Yeah, we were just talking about how cool it is how they're made, and now they're
It's real cool. Like, we were just at France. I mean, wasn't you, was it?
No.
Me and Tony, I think the sales manager, were just at France, and it is interesting how they're made, and even how they're made to this day right here in the United States, like how their coils are done. It was impressive. How did it's made right here? How
did it compare? Because you did the Allenson thing as well, which was very similar, right?
They're both what you would think, but it's probably how they have to be made. They look archaic, you know. It looks like this is how we still do this. Yeah. But it's about how they're made, and they're on these long spools, and they're spooling this thing. And Allenson does a little more in like venting, and then France does a little more in like motors. Like they make. France is a bigger company than just France. They make motors. They do wenches or whatever that pull your boat in. They do all kinds of stuff like that, but it's mainly they make motors. Yeah. And transformers fit right into that same little space. So, but it's definitely interesting. Definitely interesting to see both of those. Like, just to me, it's like, man, this is archaic. But like, I bet that's how they. I mean, if that's only 2 companies left, they're obviously the 2 companies that are really doing it right. Yeah. Because that's. Out of everybody that's around, that's the 2 transformer companies that are kind of left.
That survived. Yeah. So they're from neon to LED. That successfully made the transition.
So they're obviously they're the ones doing it right. Yeah.
So family owned.
Family owned.
So what's your role now there?
So I am our director of sales. So our VP of sales actually just retired. We're very excited for him, Bob Shimon. And he was here today.
I just saw him.
Yeah, he retired, and then the next day we hired him back. So
because you couldn't do the job?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, there was no faith in me actually.
Like,
doing
okay, he got a half a day, Bob.
Yeah. Already ruined it. I believe that was the day that you acquired us.
Oh yeah.
It was that day. Yeah.
I think based off just knowledge of the industry, I think you guys have been bought and sold 47 times. Yeah. Grimco's bought you, Tube Light bought you, we've bought you a couple of times.
GSG's bought us.
GSG's bought you.
I think you and GSG are the current owners of Montroy.
We might be. It's me and Jared, actually.
I believe, yeah.
Me and Jared might own you.
Yeah, I think that's true.
So we say that to say there's been a lot of people talking about, like, oh, what's going on with Montroy and all that kind of stuff. So here, I guess we're saying, still family owned.
Still family owned. And no change coming in that direction. So we're not entertaining.
And my side and Nick's side, we both hear all the time rumors about each other's businesses being sold. Like, it's almost a weekly call from somebody to say, did you guys sell? I'm like, no, we're still here. Nick's like, no, we're still here.
I got a call from Judy like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, did you guys sell? Because
I heard a rumor. Stop.
It's probably the same person we heard it from. So
it was.
I feel like it just keeps coming around. Yeah. Well, I think we're sitting in a spot where a lot of our competitors have sold out, right? So I think everyone's looking at it like, okay, there's only a few family-owned companies left. So in their mind, it's just a matter of time, right, before they sell to the next biggest payer. And from what it sounds like, we're sitting in the same spot where it's like there's no desire on either of our ends to do that.
We've done what you guys are doing right now as well. There's a lot of succession planning that's happening. We're getting our ducks in a row because, that's our plan, is to keep going. Like I said, we're 92 years old. Like, I at the very least want to hit 100 because that's a cool milestone, right? Like, but no, I would love it if my daughters got involved with the company and it became a 5th generation company. That would be amazing. So we'll see what the future holds, but there's no plan right now. It's all succession planning.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. We're not going anywhere. We're having too much fun right now. How the industry's going, it's actually fun too. Just how everybody's consolidating, but yet we're still standing here. And I'm even looking at even who's here at the show, who's the people in our space at the show that are family owned. It's like us. That's it. Okay, we're the only 2 standing here today, but I mean, there's a few others in our industry, but not very many that are still family owned. There's really, who is it? It's me and you. It's GSG. It's Reese. It's Grimco is family owned. And that have been that long.
And Glance is still family owned.
And Glance is still family owned, but you take those companies, those are probably the longest. They're all 80 plus years.
Yeah.
And we're all family owned still. So, and then if anything outside of that's either newer or been bought up by different groups.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy that if you look at the start dates, like if you go through Montroy, Wensco, Glance, Grimco, I don't know a lot about GSG, so I can't speak for them, but at least those 4, if you look at their start dates, we're all within 10 years of each other. Yeah. So it's like the people that are standing, and we talked about this on another episode, like there's one model that worked, and there's people that came and have tried other methods and left or been bought up, and then there's people who have just been like, what we do, we sell sign supplies and we deliver them. Those are the things that we do, and the ones that did that well, they made it through, and everyone else
that's exactly right. Yeah, it's to us, it's such a simple formula. Okay, we sell sign supplies, we stock them, and we deliver them. Okay, that's our formula, and everybody that wasn't doing that formula, not here.
Yeah, or anyone that tried to differ from that at all. Who used to do it and then tried something different and then got acquired by some method or another. But sorry to interrupt the podcast, but we want to have a special episode for episode 25, and we want to do Q&A. So if you have questions, send them to podcast@wensco.com. If you send them to that email, I'll get them. We'll go through them on the air. If it's anybody that's been on the podcast, any of my brothers, anyone you've seen, Domingo, Mike, anybody like that, welcome to send them in. If it's just somebody you even haven't seen on the podcast yet, but you have questions for them, we'll bring them on to answer your questions. So send them in. Again, podcast@wensco.com. You can also send them out on socials, or if you know if it's anywhere, if you have our phone numbers, emails, send them. I don't care where you send them as long as they get to me, and we'll be happy to answer them live, potentially live, on episode 25. So send in your questions. Again, podcast@wensco.com. And now we'll get back to the episode. Family-owned company. Where are you guys based out of, for those that don't know?
Yeah, I saw your locations too.
Yeah, so we're here in Southern California is where our corporate office is. We're in Long Beach right now. We're in Signal Hill. It is literally a hill with cell towers on the top of it, and like the square mile around it is Signal Hill. That's where our corporate office is. We have locations in LA, San Diego, Sacramento, Orange County, Tucson, Phoenix, Mesa, Las Vegas, Reno, and Salt Lake City.
All big cities, for the most part. LA's got to be a nightmare.
It's a whole different challenge.
I think of the same thing. I'm close with economy. And Miami's a total different animal too.
Yeah.
And LA's probably the same thing, where it's just a different market altogether. Even to get anywhere to do anything, I can imagine all the pricing. I can imagine all that stuff. Like, it's such a huge, what they say, 30 million people over there.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable. That's
the thing that you don't think about, speaking of our drivers. So at one point I got, we do shirts for the drivers, so they all say Montroy, and I had shirts. I had gray, I had red, I had blue. I can't give LA red and blue. the neighborhoods they go into,
depends where
they
they're
can't.
at.
So they all got gray.
It's a very specific issue with
LA.
county-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy because we don't, even in the big cities that we're in, we don't really deal with it at all, that's crazy.
It's just one of those things that, like, the size of LA and you know where we're delivering to, you wouldn't think about that until it actually happens, and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things that just goes into, like, we were just talking about, like, how difficult some of that stuff can be to deliver to.
Yeah.
Or the areas you have to go into when people look at, like, always looking for, like, a discount. Be like, I don't think you understand, like, yeah, okay, what we just talked about is super simple what we're doing, right? But also the cost for some of that gets astronomical. And, like, you guys, especially here, like in California, like, gas is not cheap here. We've driven by luckily we're gonna live here. We're driven by the gas stations. The numbers are a lot higher than they are in Michigan for us. So, like, it's not a cheap thing necessarily to take supplies that are very big, which means they need to go in vans, which don't get great gas mileage, and deliver them.
Yeah.
And deliver them into difficult areas where, like, probably insurance is not the easiest to obtain around here, but
it's surprisingly less of a problem. I mean, we're in some shady areas, but I guess our guys know what they're getting into. They know the areas, they know the customers. We're welcome into their into their lots to deliver. It's not like we're leaving a truck out on the street.
Yeah.
It's
a little different though.
It's a little different, yeah.
Yeah, we get into, like, downtown Chicago where there's times where it's like, okay, you've had to deliver to, like, Detroit where it's like, okay, this is a little bit iffy.
Yep.
Like, this is a little bit sketchy, but
every town has it.
Every town has them,
yeah.
And in certain sections, even Louisville has a section that's just not pleasant.
Well, even here, like, I've been joking with you about, I said, it doesn't matter what time you're out here, the crazies are always out. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know what kind of problem they got going on here, but, like, I run at 6 a.m, they're out. You go at 9 p.m, they're out again. I don't understand it, but it's just everywhere.
It's everywhere.
You don't think about when you're like, when they feel like, oh, I'll deliver. You be like, yeah, you won't believe the kind of stuff I saw today. So
yeah, we don't, especially Michigan, we don't deal as much homeless just because it's too cold.
Yeah.
Like any smart homeless person is going to come to California, not stay in Michigan, because you're literally gonna freeze to death in Michigan.
Your weather is way nicer.
Yeah, and the weather's way better here. Well, let me tell you a story about Nick. How many years ago did we come out and you were wearing your flannel?
It wasn't long ago.
It was probably 2 or 3 years ago. We came out to visit Nick, and we visited him it was an outdoor bar, and he brought his dog, which was, for us, was at the time, like, dogs weren't allowed in Michigan in bars, but here they are.
My dog goes everywhere.
I show up, I have shorts on and a t-shirt, and I'm sweating to death. Nick shows up, long pants, a flannel. It's cold.
It was chilly.
It's 85
it was
outside.
A chilly 73.
I really was hoping you were going to say a lower number there, and you did not.
Yeah, so the people in Michigan, I came out here, he had a flannel on, pants on, cold, and I was shorts, t-shirt, sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I'm actually surprised that you are not in shorts right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to
and
look.
that you have sleeves.
We talk about it.
I'm trying to look professional. Yeah.
It's true.
We've had stern talkings, too, at the shop about me, and make sure I have pants on and sleeves on my shirts, and or a shirt on in general.
Goodness.
So,
well,
yeah, I've seen the videos.
Yeah,
shirt on is questionable.
No, I always had, like, at least straps over. Like, I didn't have, like, no shirt pictures.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like,
on any of the videos. I mean, practically though.
I had some tank tops on, and
I mean, I've gotten some from you on Snapchat that are probably not seen by the general public.
No, probably not.
He has those framed in his house above the fireplace.
Yeah. Probably.
They have the Snapchat text still on them. He didn't even try to edit them out. He's just like, these are perfect as is. I don't need to modify this.
Collectibles.
Collectibles. He signed his own name on the back. Like,
now that you're getting famous,
if you want me to come sign the front of those, I'll come over and sign the front of those. From 22 miles from there.
Start selling them on eBay
for sure.
Okay, so let's just
there's a new Wensco eBay store that you can find all of your
all my gear,
collectibles.
All your mic collectibles.
They're limited edition though. There's not many of them up there.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know who Montroy is, just talking about, like, because we're sitting here at the booth and I'm looking at all the equipment you have in your booth. So what kind of, obviously traditional sign supplies are going to be kind of across the board, but in terms of equipment, what kind of, what are you guys?
So primarily, I mean, we're an HP and a Roland dealer. So those are our two printers that we carry. We carry the I mean, in the booth, we've got the graph deck, we've got a Cal laminator. Yeah, but CWT tape. I mean, it depends on what you want, right? But our two kind of staples are HP and Roland.
Okay.
Is every branch the same? It's a Roland. You're a Roland dealer at every branch.
Yeah.
And HP at every branch.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Service techs.
We do have techs. Yep.
At all locations. Travel.
They all travel. We are working on all the locations. There's some locations, like we don't have one down in Tucson, but we have it in Phoenix. We have a guy in Phoenix, so it's a 2-hour drive. It's he takes Arizona and can handle that. And that's, we're able to get to everywhere with the techs that we have very quickly.
Yeah.
So like Orange County and LA, they're 15 miles from each other. So having a tech in both would be a little excessive.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, basically what we're saying is we could probably drop one of my employees into your place or one of your employees into my place almost across the board, and it would be like we almost operate the same. What I'm saying is
for our guy, it would be terrifying. but yes, they could do the job.
Yeah.
If they knew what they were getting into,
Yeah.
But
I just think that they're similar enough where you could almost take either as a sales rep, you could almost do a swap and they'd be like, oh, it's almost the exact same.
Yeah.
And even techs or even warehouse guys or even drivers, you could almost and they'd know the product.
They would, it would take them 10 minutes to walk around the warehouse and go, okay, so this is where that product category is. This is where you keep substrates. This is where, okay, I know what to do. Yeah.
And very
this is easy.
So that's what we always said. Someone was asking about what do you guys do? And they were in California, right? So I'm going through the spiel Sign Supply distributor. We're based in the Midwest. We ship all over. I said, but you probably have someone in your territory. I was like, Montroy's probably literally in your backyard is be my guess. If you're in California, they got the whole thing covered. So it was they're basically if you looked at us and our catalog, there's a few differences there, right? But for the most part.
There's very few though. I mean, looking at what we carry.
Yeah.
It's
very few differences.
Similar.
Not enough of that. Yeah. Not to be considered different, really.
So with that to say, if you're listening to this, you're not in our territory, which is a couple people at least. You can check out Montroy on the West Coast.
I think the listeners are actually our employees, so
that's probably true.
Yeah. All your West Coast listeners are just
Montroy
our people.
Employees.
Yeah.
I mean,
the other Sign Supply distributor that's also a competitor that has locations based in this area also are listening. They keep showing up on our LinkedIn feed all the time for some reason. They're in the most listened category.
We've announced them so many times.
I still didn't say the name. I didn't say it. Okay.
So, anyways, is that all we got?
That's all I had. Is there anything else you wanted to add? One last sales pitch for Montroy.
Come on. You're the director of sales or sales manager?
Director of sales.
You should have a great sales pitch then. Our director of sales, he can talk like nobody else. I don't trust any sales reps, so now I can't trust you anymore. When you're just marketing, whatever, I trusted you. I don't trust any sales reps, so now I can't trust you anymore.
Well, I mean, that's the great thing is I'm not a sales rep, right? My customer is my salesperson. I need to make them happy so they can sell, and I'm less concerned with making.
Yeah, you're taking away. Your job is really to take away their excuses.
Yeah.
So. And that's the same with our director of sales. He's helping them sell, but his job actually is usually go to me, take away their excuses. And what's a sales rep excuse every time? Hey, your sales aren't up. Yeah, I don't have the right stock. Okay, well, I got to go to the purchasing, make sure we got the right stock. Okay, now the stock's here. Now what's your excuse? Our price is too high. Okay, let's go. That's why I don't like sales reps.
We're not delivering enough.
Yeah, we don't deliver enough.
Not quick enough.
The driver's not there early enough. The sheet's too dirty when it gets there. That's all sales rep. So now you get to deal with all that.
Yeah. No, it's there's characters, right? And it's fun. It's a new challenge, especially coming from the marketing side that I was doing before. It was me by myself. I was the marketing department, and now I have people that I work with. So it's very different.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a new challenge, but fun.
I mean, so the whole purpose of this episode, we should have said that at the beginning. That's usually what I do, but we didn't, is to give an idea of other people that are in this industry, right, besides Wensco. I mean, if you can buy from Wensco, you should, but if you can't, Montroy's a good second option.
There's so many other options, right? And
we put Montroy at least in the top 25 of the other options that are out there. So.
Which is great, We're up there.
There's
so many out there.
It's us, than anybody else that doesn't start with a G. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So,
yeah, I mean, is like, honestly, like when we've done other shows, it's been like, if they're in California, that's the first name, right? Like, so it's like if they're in Florida, I'm like, yeah, check out Economy if you can get from them and buy from them. If they're in California, it's always Montroy. We have the same ones, right? Like Texas, I'll usually shout out Reese from there. So like that's on our end. Like we know those people to know, like if I send a customer there, they're probably going to be happy. So that's kind of our. And
I think the reason is because we are all so similar. There's a level of customer service that we're trying to achieve, and I can easily say go to Wensco because I know you operate like we do. So that's the kind of service I want to send people to. So I do the same thing. If we get someone from the Midwest, obviously we can ship in, sure, but usually that's not the best idea. You know, having a local source is really important.
Yeah, and we're not afraid to say we're not the best option. You know, before Denko even got bought, you know, a guy kept trying to buy skids of ACM from us, and I'm like, no. Denko has the same product. Let me get in touch with that guy. And we finally did.
Down the street.
They're like me truck shipping it to you. Yes, I'm going to make money, but every time we're going to deal with freight and we're going to deal with damage. And like, you can literally go pick it up or he can deliver it to you. And so we move people over then too.
This is a shout out to Jeremy from Sign Comp. He heard me give an awesome sales pitch at the Sign World Expo where somebody was at my booth. They were in Texas. And he was like, I go through my whole spiel. He's in Texas. I'm like, yeah, so you probably have like a few people in your backyard. He's like, yeah. I said, yeah, probably just better to use those ones. Like if all of those ones fail you, then you can come to Wensco. And he's like, wow, great sales pitch. Like, what am I going to do? Like if they have 3 other options in their backyard, do I really want to ship in and compete with them? Like, no. Like, and I'm sure there's someone there that will do a great job servicing that account, right? Which is why we're like, you're in California, I don't really want to deal with it, so check out them, and they will do a great job, and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, so. And you've made that contact, which will go a long way with that customer when those 3 can't do the job. Like, they will reach out to you and go, hey, listen, they're out of stock. I need this. Do you have it?
And you were honest with me because you said,
you were honest with me.
I would love your business, but it's not for me.
Or if we ever do come to town and open up there.
Yeah. If we ever come to Orange County.
If we ever go to Orange County.
Please come on down.
No, pretty sure I'm not going to come this far.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, again, you already own part of us.
Yeah,
so.
I already travel too much already, so I don't need to like flight travel stuff.
Flights, as long as we can drive, that's our current motto.
If we can possibly make it there in a day in a car, then
we keep stretching that hour. It's like, it was like 6, and now it's like, well, if it's within 8, if it's in 10, I mean, I could probably do 10.
Yeah, I could do that like while the sun up. So if I can do that.
That's our new policy. Yeah. So hopefully you got to know Nick from Montroy and Montroy a little better. Like I said, if you're anywhere on the West Coast, check out Montroy.
Thank you.
We appreciate them. So it's been a good time. At the show, we literally, at WRAPSCON, if you didn't know, we literally always have booths right next to each other. Yeah. So this is our booth, the backdrop. They're literally right here. Yeah. So we appreciate it.
Yeah,
I know you guys have been doing this show together for a while now.
Yeah, how long have we been doing the show together? For those that don't know, we shared a booth for many years.
Yeah.
Where we have the same backdrop that said both our names on it. Just
a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. I remember going and talking to you as your mom and dad. Yeah. And saying, look, when we do these shows, if we're out of our area or you're out of your area, we might as well just do them together because we're not going to compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cost of doing trade shows.
I made the call to you, and next thing you know, here we are.
Yeah.
So then when I signed up, and Nick had already signed up without me, I said, I just have to be right next to Montroy, as close as you can. I mean, if you can put me in their booth, sweet. But if not, I'll be as close as I can get.
Well, it was funny, too.
They got a peninsula. I was like, okay, fine. I'll be across the aisle from them.
It was funny that you reached out to me, and you're like, hey, it looks like we're back to back again. Do we want to just take the wall down? I'm like, that's last year's.
Yeah.
You're at the wrong floor plan.
GPX, you need to get your website figured out, because when you look up GPX WRAPSCON and then you click on the first link, it brings you to the 2023 page. So everyone that looked at the schedule.
They're new.
Yeah, they'll get it figured out.
They'll figure it out.
So we should appreciate you, because they're literally, probably trying to clean up as we're in here trying to do a podcast. So
they're going to shut the lights off on us soon. So
I'm sure.
Probably should wrap up.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate you watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks.
So, bye.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.